Hi friends, welcome to my studio. I look forward to doing this project together. I will include in the description below all of the materials that I'm using today and the colors. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell if you'd like to be alerted when new videos become available. We're going to be working on pastel mat. Let's get started. Each layer should have a lot of blending. So every time you, even if it's just the underpainting, just remember to blend. I'm using a sponge in this case because this is our first layer and the surface of the pastel mat can be very rough to the little tools, the soft tools that I'm typically using. But the sponges do great. This is the ugly stage, so I always think it's funny when I start watching, and then finally when he starts coming into view, that'll make it a little easier to see where we're going. The underpainting serves as a kind of a map of where your darks and lights are, and just kind of a very loose almost, just a foundation for the rest of your pigment to lay on. So, and I apologize, my screen's shaking for some reason. But this is not a long tutorial. This is only an 11 or 12 minutes. So I appreciate you sticking with me through it. See, I'm adding a little bit of a lighter color here using the pastel, the PanPastels with the little applicator brush. I don't know if you'd call it a brush, but a sponge. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and hit like if you enjoy watching these tutorials. It just helps me get the YouTube channel going and get my work out there. I do appreciate every bit of your help in that way. So we're getting our ears in. We're going to we'll switch over to the eyes in a little while after we get, or the eye, there's only one. After we get this foundation down, the underpainting, it's very light at this stage, but with the pastels, you have that ability to do a lot of adjusting. So we'll just continue on with this. I'm leaving kind of gaps like there in the ear so I can just kind of see where those lines are. And when I start going in with the pencils, it'll make it a little bit easier to know those kind of details. Other details, at this point, not real important. You just, like I said, laying a foundation, getting kind of a pattern going so that you can see where you're going to be working at any particular part. I'm using a kneaded eraser to pick up any little crumbs that may have come off of with the PanPastel. Now going in with the black Faber-Castell Pitt pencil to get the eyes mapped out. I've already got the areas that I want to keep for the highlights, and then the outside of the eye, with the rim of the eye being a brown. Yeah, I'm adding some brown into the eye as well because it's never really quite just black. And in this case in particular, if you look closely at the reference photo, you can see there's some different colorings in there. This is very quick and just kind of to show you the basic process. Blending. The blending stumps are very handy. You can get in small spaces and just kind of smooth things out as you go. Every layer you should be blending. Getting his nose in, just the main idea of it right now, and then we'll get the additional detail in a little while. I'm going to be resting my hand on the glassine that comes with our pastel mat paper. And it's a protective covering also after you've completed your work. But while you're doing your work, you can use that or a piece of tracing paper or just copy paper to put your hand on when you're working over an area that's already got pigment on it, just to keep from smearing it. Adding a little bit more of the white in these areas. And the black, making sure there's some blue in there just to keep it from looking flat. You can see I've already gone around the ear now with a little bit of a gray, just to make that distinction, to show that the ear is there. It's much smoother fur as well. Getting a little bit more orange on the top. I did notice that the reference photo that I was using, I had printed off, and my printer apparently needs certain colors of ink. So when I'm looking at my reference photo, I'm pulling colors from it, which do not necessarily match the one that you're seeing on the screen, which is more of a orangey red. But those are the kinds of things that, you've got that freedom. You can, work with it however you like, as long as you're not stressing over it. I'm not going to stress about the fact that my colors don't match exactly what's in that reference photo. I can still tell what this is. It's a guinea pig, and I'm still going to get the shadings and the tonal values and everything in there that are important in order to really get that bit of realism that you want when you're creating. So, short fur strokes, just to get different layers. If you have any type of fur, typically you'll have several different colors that are going on. And when you get all of those colors kind of included in there, it really helps to create that depth and character. So I'll be going over pretty frequently over some of these areas. I'm using an earbud or a Q-tip there, just to make sure that I don't disturb too much the first strokes themselves, but I do want to blend them so that we don't have any rough edges showing up. I'll use my finger as well sometimes. And just kind of paying attention a little bit to the different areas in the face now. So with the nose in particular, there's shorter hair on the nose. There's more color, lighter on the right-hand side. So that'll have to come in there too to make sure that we capture those nuances with regard to the colors and the shape of the face itself, the way it comes through. So going over again with white and trying to blend in so they have a good transition. There is some white around his nose, and you'll see some lighter colors come in a little while around the nose, but white around the mouth as well. There's got to be a little bit of a brighter white just under his chin, and then have a little bit of a shadow so you can make that distinction as well. So again, just laying in those different colors, getting everything kind of fine-tuning it as we go. That's the thing I love about pastels, is that when you're working with pastels, you can walk away from it. You can come back to it. You can, look at it a week later and adjust if you feel like you need to. The fact that you can lay light over dark is just so helpful versus watercolor or some other mediums where, you have to be careful about the layering. With the pastels, as long as you're staying with light or thin layers, then you're still going to have the tooth of the pastel matte paper to pull that additional pigment if you need to go over. Some people also use a kneaded eraser. They've got too much in one particular area of color and they need to make adjustments. They can pull some of that color off with that kneaded eraser. Making sure we get some of those longer hairs showing. I do apologize, I didn't realize my camera had also moved a little bit. I think my dogs are under the desk and they're laying up against the legs of this table that I'm using today. So everything's kind of shifted. And I didn't realize it until later, but I'll adjust it for you in a second when I realize it. But I'm getting the feet in now too. And again, the color is going to be very consistent, there we go, within the color ranges that I'm using. If you look at the reference photo on your screen, even the feet have more of an orangey feel. But with my version, I'm trying to think of which color is missing from my printer, but everything has a kind of a greenish tint to it. And it works. I mean, you still have that gold of a guinea pig or a, some people call them gerbils, or is gerbil much smaller, like a mouse? I can't remember. It's been a while. But this is a guinea pig. I know that for sure. Put something in the comments if you know otherwise, but I believe that this would be a straight up guinea pig. All right, you can see on his mouth and in the back there, the back foot, a little bit of pink. Last steps to get those whiskers in. And on the one side, you do have them a little darker. So that's our final product. And I really, really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you'll visit again to see some of my others that I will be uploading. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. I appreciate you and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.